Look at what they're doing now and tell me it doesn't all add up. Tell me it doesn't add up. So you have all these articles coming out about what the banks want to do with DLT technology, right? You had the BIS come out with a few documents about a month ago about how the banks need to implement DLT technology in combination with AI, et cetera. We've seen all this evidence. And now, right? Now, in combination with, simultaneously with the unleashing of crypto in the US, you have articles like this coming out now that say this: US banks raise equity to jumpstart deals. Now, wait a minute. I know. Wait a minute. Hold on. A lot of people would say, well, they want to merge with more other banks and et cetera. They've been doing that for years. That's not news. That's not news. We've been covering that. We covered a lot of different mergers. And actually, that's one of the reasons why the big banks have a problem with the small banks, because the big banks have been alleged to sabotage the small banks to force them into merging. That's not news at all. No, but what makes more sense is a lot of these deals that are going to have to be done in with DLT companies, in my humble opinion. They have to congeal with that technology. That means that they're going to have to do a lot of reshaping of how things are functioning within those systems. As simple as that. So sure, yeah, they have to raise a lot of things up, a lot of capital to go around, especially if they want the private sector to do the lifting. Just in my humble opinion, you don't have to agree with this. I'm sure other people have other thoughts on this, but think about it. Why not? If it was about banks merging with other banks, why not have these type of articles last year, the year before? They were doing all types of mergers. I mean, I think in 2023, we saw the most, at least from what I've read in articles, we saw the most mergers and bank takeovers than like never before, especially because of the collapse that happened at that particular time with the multitude of banks that went down at that time. Now, also keep in mind, a lot of these banks, we're talking about thousands upon thousands of them, are at risk globally of collapse. That has not changed. It hasn't changed. So mergers aren't going to save them from that. As a matter of fact, what we saw from a lot of the mergers, all right, this is coming from the professionals. We read it. I put it on the screen. People saw it. They got a chance to save it. A lot of those mergers hurt the banks. Why? Because they absorbed things and people, workers and assets that were no good. And then, so they said that at first. Then a few months later, after they merged with certain other entities and took them over that weren't doing well, that collapsed, then we got confirmation of it. As a matter of fact, they started firing a lot of those different people and getting rid of certain assets that were no good for them that they had to absorb. So once again, circling back around, that's not news. That is not why they're putting this out. Listen, everybody across the board, from top to bottom to top, knows crypto is about to be unleashed. DLT technology is about to be unleashed. And they're getting in position. Which this is very interesting because we knew, although they like to put out these articles where they're like, well, the banks made this much, in this quarter, et cetera. Listen, look at the long term. Look at the last 20 years. Look at the hemorrhaging of what they've made and then compare the different years in amounts. OK, that's going to open your eyes. Then on top of that, look at how they've been hemorrhaging customers. That's number two. Then look at how many times they've been in court for violating regulations. That's three. Right? And that was happening a lot in 2024. The banks are not doing well. So that leads us right back around to they need to congeal with DLT technology and AI in order to thrive. What did the BIS tell everybody? The BIS literally told everybody that the banks would need to congeal with DLT technology. I believe it was the BIS. The banks would need to congeal with DLT technology to thrive, to survive. I'm paraphrasing, of course. And there was another entity that was saying something similar to that. I believe it was a representative from the federal government. I don't think it was Christopher Waller. There was another individual that was coming out in the federal government the last few months. I say within the last 5-6 months. And they were saying something very, very similar. All people have to do is go read. Listen, you keep up with the news of what the BIS is saying, because a lot of they tell a lot. Keep up with the news of what all the different federal representatives are saying, the ones from New York, the ones from St. Louis. They all say something different. They all put out different types of information, but it is a lot of times very, very potent in helping us to have the foresight or to foresee what is to come. So then it goes back to, we covered an article like a video or two back The article is very potent, but they use very opaque and obtuse language. And I said, one of the reasons is they don't want people too bullish, not only because they don't want the people to make a lot of money, because let's be honest, they don't. That hierarchical structure of having them up here and having everyone else down here is pretty potent and substantial for them, right? But no, put that to the side. They also want to ensure that they're going to have control over the technology and be able to implement it the way that they want to on their terms. And the way that they want to do that is by keeping things quiet. They have to keep it quiet. Listen, haven't you seen articles where they're detailing how close Brad Garlinghouse of Ripple is getting with these powerful political figures? Not just Garlinghouse, though. There's a couple of DLT companies at the top. They're all getting very, very close with these so-called powerful political figures. And to the point where there's been complaints about it. Did you see that? Why? Because why would there be complaints if they weren't significant? It is significant. What I'm seeing is there may be absolute domination when it comes to the bank coin companies, DLT companies. And we're getting closer and closer and closer to that. And it's very visible right now. So something like this, U.S. banks raise equity to jumpstart deals, I think is much, much deeper than what people are saying. And this is one of the reasons why the mainstream media, for the first time ever, is all over DLT technology. Remember last year I was talking about watching for this moment. Now, I do think that'll increase significantly, but right now they're watching because they're flabbergasted and pondering to themselves, wait a minute, what's going on? Because they slept on DLT technology. They didn't believe in it. They didn't do their research. All right. And so now they're flabbergasted. Like, why is the U.S. government so into DLT? Why are the banks so into DLT? You and I know why, but they don't understand it. Right. That'll change very, very rapidly, very, very quickly. And so this is not only happening in the U.S. Look at the race to implement, the race to innovate, and the rapid acceleration of all of this is happening globally. Globally, there's more money being poured into the congealing of these systems, the rapid advancement of DLT technology and advanced mechanisms, AI implementation with DLT technology. There's this massive push for alleged transparency. All of a sudden, everybody wants to know everything. That DLT is going to play a huge role in that. Huge role in that. Everything will be automated. So I think that's a lot of what's going on here. That's why we're seeing these type of articles. That's why we're seeing this kind of capital buildup. And once again, I'm going to close out this little portion of the video with saying that's another reason why the cash pile on the side is majorly still there. Why is that cash pile still there on the side? It didn't go into the stock market. It's not going into commodities. What are they waiting for? Huh? Right. All right. So now let's move on here to another article. So now this article is titled Market Analyst Sees 1,500% Pump in XRP Price Amid Multiple ETF Applications. Do you believe the same? Do you agree with that? It says several analysts are predicting a massive XRP price pump, and chart fractals suggest a long-term target as high as, and listen, you don't have to agree with this price. I'm just going to read it, okay? A target as high as $99. All right. Let's scroll down and continue on here. It says XRP, which is now showing green at $2.36 at the time of this article, says wiped out nearly 23% of its value in the past 7 days and hovers around $2.42 long-term. I don't care. Not about this. I don't at all. XRP is insanely bullish in my humble opinion. All right. I could be wrong. It's just my opinion. It's not financial advice. It says down 3% over the last 24 hours. Meanwhile, multiple spot XRP ETF applications and bullish technicals could see the altcoin rally into double digits. We will see. Is any of this activity bullish? Yes. Could it be very positive for the price? Yes. But it's up to the people and the companies if they feel like that is bullish. And that's something hard to gauge. There's a lot of people I read the comments, I interact with. They're contacting me in a lot of different ways, folks. And And some of them, it's like half are very bullish on things and half are very bearish on things. I'm being honest. I could easily say everybody's all bullish. Like, no, like some people are bullish on things long term and some people are bearish on things long term. They may be bullish in the short term, you know. It seems pretty split down the middle in my opinion, but I am super bullish on XRP. XRP's upside, and it's not just about XRP. I'm talking about the cryptos across the board, top cryptos across the board. That's how a lot of people are. This is what I'm seeing from the sentiment of the people. XRP's upside is supported by applications for XRP exchange traded funds by leading asset managers, including 21 Shares, Bitwise, Canary Capital, and Wisdom Tree. According to a report by Cointelegraph, the firms have filed for spot XRP ETFs with the US SEC through the CBOE BZX exchange. The 19B-4 filings inform the SEC of a proposed rule change and, if approved, will lead to the first XRP ETFs in the country. These filings follow recent XRP ETFs filed, it says filled here, but I'm going to assume that they mean filed by CoinShares and 21 Shares, among others. Scrolling down here, it says the filings coincide with a trend toward integrating cryptocurrencies into traditional investment vehicles following the SEC's approval of Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs. Listen, how much bullish impact do you think ETFs are going to have? I think it could be significant. Do I think it's going to be the biggest impact on XRP's price? No. Interbank payments, the announcement that those are going to pop off, kick off, begin, that's going to be major. RWA, that's going to be major. B2B, major announcements in as far as B2B payments, that's going to be major. Offline QR code payments in combination with payroll, because remember, early on, they were one of the earliest to pioneer offline QR code payments. And they were one of the earliest to, test out the whole payroll thing and offer and have that as an offering. I don't know if that's still on the table or not for various companies, but I'm sure that it is. That could be major. There's a lot of major catalysts for not only XRP, Chainlink, Solana, Stellar, Algorand, Quant, the usual suspects. A lot of major catalysts for all of them. It's just a matter of the people paying attention to when those catalysts are going to, come to fruition, and then the people acting upon that in whatever way they're going to. So it says analysts see double-digit XRP prices ahead. With XRP below $3, analysts say that XRP price could see a trend reversal from the current sell-off with a target of $27 above. The XRP price may see a 1,500, quote-unquote, 1,500% pump, unquote, into double digits within 4 weeks. All right, so listen, we've seen a lot of different predictions. It's up to you what you believe. Obviously, where you believe that price is going to go. No one knows where anyone bought in at or how long they want to hold. All right. So to each his own, and, I respect whatever people think. So now we're going to go here to a little bit of Bitcoin news. Look at this. Bitcoin tops $100,000 after U.S. added fewer than forecast jobs in January. Of course, once again, they're going to have to revise these numbers. We'll get the truth, or what's closer to the truth, probably about a month or two from now, once numbers are revised. Of course, the unemployment rate fell to 4% rather than holding steady at 4.1%. Yes, but what they're not saying is that I've been reading a lot of reports from people that the job industry is more difficult than ever, right? That's going to be something to watch into the future if that changes, okay? It says U.S. January job growth came in weaker than expected at 143,000. The news sent Bitcoin initially higher. Bitcoin snapped a 3-day decline after January job growth in the U.S. fell short of expectations. The largest cryptocurrency rose above $100,000 for the first time since February the 4th, according to CC data, after the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Let me stop this ad here. After the Bureau of Labor Statistics said the economy added 143,000 jobs in January, below the forecast 170,000 and down from 256,000 in December. It's going to be interesting to watch these numbers. Of course, there's a change in the energies and the mines that are driving the U.S. Let's see what happens, how that affects business. And then, of course, how it affects businesses hiring, so we shall see. Still, the unemployment rate dropped to 4% compared with an expected 4.1% and December's 4.1%. And why did they said and 4.1%. And then they said, and December's 4.1% and growth in average hourly earnings. That's article writer. That's an interesting way to write a sentence. I don't think I've ever seen that many ands in a sentence before, but hey, like, I know it's just a little pet peeve of mine. Nothing major. Okay. Quote, relatively high wage inflation and low unemployment rate mean that the Federal Reserve isn't likely to cut rates anytime soon, but markets already know that, unquote, says Zach Pandel, Grayscale's head of research. The chance of the Federal Reserve lowering the benchmark interest rate at its March meeting fell to 8% from 15% after the report, according to the CME FedWatch data. All right, so now let's move on to this article here. There's some pretty good Bitcoin news. In my humble opinion, I think crypto is showing that it's solidly in a bullish energy. And it's going to be hard to get it out of that bullish energy. I'm not mad at that. I don't know who is. Raoul Pal's Bitcoin price prediction: could BTC hit $500,000 in 2025? We saw someone else. What was it? Was it Van Eck talking? It was talking about high price, but they were saying about the year 2028, right? So Raoul Pal is talking about 2025. He wants that right now. I do also. It says, despite all the excitement around Bitcoin reserve plans, the cryptocurrency is yet to break past $100,000. However, investors remain hopeful. It says billionaire investor Raoul Pal is among those with high expectations for Bitcoin this year. It says, let's dive into his latest prediction. So the crypto market is buzzing with optimism, and Raoul Pal, CEO of Real Vision, has shared bold forecasts for Bitcoin in 2025. Speaking on a podcast with James Conner of Blood Street Capital, Pal analyzed past trends and current market conditions, concluding that Bitcoin is heading for a strong year, supported by the global liquidity and maturing market. Says Pal compares today's market setup to 2017. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of comparisons to that time period. That's interesting. So, I'll keep my eye on that. It says, even if Bitcoin reaches $100,000, he expects only mild pullbacks. That's interesting. Possibly dropping to 90,000 before rebounding. But why do you only expect mild pullbacks? I keep all possibilities open. Simply because, and you don't have to agree with this, simply because I believe there's a lot of manipulation going on. And there's so many companies. There was a report the other day. Did you see this report? 72% of companies are not involved in crypto. What? Woo. See, and that's some information that people need to have. Why? If that's accurate, and who was that conducted by? I think that was conducted by JP Morgan. So it's serious business, right? So if 72% of companies are not involved in crypto, and yet we have Cathie Wood. Who else was talking about it? It was somebody recently. Cathie Wood, and there was another big timer talking about how all the companies want to get in. Oh, wait. Was that from BlackRock? I think that was from BlackRock. We covered that article about a week ago. But anyway, these big timers are saying a lot of companies are still waiting to get into Bitcoin. They want to get into Bitcoin. I don't know what they're waiting on. No one's explaining why they're not in yet. I don't know. But that's a lot. If it is indeed 72%, that are there. And I'm not saying the full 72% will want into crypto, although I think they will be unwise not to get into crypto. It's easy money. But let's say a big portion of that 72% of the companies that are not in crypto choose to get into crypto. That's a whole ocean of capital coming to crypto that most people are not even accounting for. That is one major bullish catalyst, in my humble opinion. Yes, right? I think so. It says here, Bitcoin at $500,000. 3 possible scenarios. I used to say scenario. I say scenario now. It just flows much better. Scenario. Powell outlined 3 potential price targets for Bitcoin by the end of 2025. Worst case scenario, he says, Bitcoin reaches $200,000 to $250,000. I love how now my $150,000 is nothing compared to what everybody else is saying. All right. I love it, though. I want things to go way past my expectations. I want them to go way past the moon. All right. It says here, base case scenario. There we go. Scenario. Bitcoin climbs to $350,000. All right. Next bullet point, bullish scenario. if the market sees a blow off top like 2017, Bitcoin could surge past $500,000. Do you believe that? Do you agree with that? It says Powell's optimism isn't just about Bitcoin. He sees the entire crypto market gaining momentum this cycle. And that statement right there is what makes me believe that he actually believes this. It is not just that he wants it to pump because he has a ton of Bitcoin. Of course, that's there. He wants to make money. Everybody does. So that is there. But the fact that he's saying the entire crypto market will gain, I see that as being very true. I do. I believe that also. All of these top cryptos will rise together. Most of them are very, very bullish. So the fact that he's putting that honesty out there, in my humble opinion, that makes me respect his opinion much more. We're going to end off today with this article here, which is titled, Does Kraken Know the Identity of Bitcoin Creator Satoshi Nakamoto? If they do, I think they should keep it to themselves. If they know, then it would leak at some point. It's hard to keep these types of secrets these days. Just my humble opinion. But it says this: recently discovered on-chain evidence suggests Satoshi's legal name might be known to the crypto exchange Kraken, provided a few assumptions are true. You putting this out here is going to make people dig into this, right? There's people that know how to manipulate computers like at a very high level. They're going to go searching for this now. This is the quest to discover the true identity of Bitcoin pseudonymous creator Satoshi Nakamoto has stalled for years. Is it necessary to know this person's identity or people's identity? Is it better to leave things as is? Bitcoin seems to be doing well. What's the point of knowing this individual's identity? It says, with sleuths and documentarians alike unable to produce a definitive answer to the $2 trillion mystery. Now, a prominent crypto industry executive, claims to have unearthed previously unrevealed information about Satoshi Nakamoto's on-chain activity that may have left a trail to the shadowy coder's true name. Connor Grogan, a head of product business operations at Coinbase, said this week that he discovered a number of on-chain transactions linked to a Satoshi-controlled wallet that interacted with Cavertex, a now defunct centralized Bitcoin exchange based in Canada. The mystery is getting interesting now, isn't it? If true, that fact would signify a major breakthrough in the hunt for Satoshi's identity. Why? Because the notoriously privacy-prone coder was never previously known to have interacted with centralized crypto exchanges, which typically require identity verification from all customers. I almost don't want to know. Do you want to know who Satoshi is? I really don't. I love a good mystery. Let it remain that way. It says if Satoshi really was a Cavertex customer, the exchange could have collected personally identifiable information, including the developer's legal name and address. That would be dangerous if that person's still at that place. Even if, at the time, the Canadian exchange had no clue how important the data from a seemingly ordinary user was. But Cavertex is no longer operational. The company was acquired by the American crypto exchange Kraken in 2016 and absorbed into its infrastructure. So that's where Kraken comes in. All right, folks. They're hunting down. They want to know who Satoshi is. I think more than anything, news people want to know who Satoshi is. That's a huge story, right? When it comes down, it's going to do numbers for them. So, we shall see what happens. Will they uncover the identity of Satoshi? Will Satoshi remain a mystery forever? Find out on the next episode of DBZ. I took somebody back with that one. They're like, he knows about DBZ. Oh yeah, man. Listen, have you been here since the beginning of the channel? I used to. I haven't had much time these last few years to really be into all of the different hobbies I used to have. I just haven't. Things been so busy. But trust me, I will get back to those hobbies. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, everybody, let's get to the money.